Hi, welcome back. We're going to do a bit of a bonus video. I've kind of made Dan do it because it's something that I'm really interested in. And we just thought we'd do this one during the week as a quick one. And this is the story of Ed Gein.
So, Rachael, this is Ryan Murphy's third instalment of his series Monster.
Mm-hmm.
So, we've previously had Dharma, Eric, and Lyle Menendez, and this is the story of Ed Gein.
Yep.
Yes. So, could you tell us a little bit more about Ed Gein?
Well, what was I say? An absolute nutter, really. But yeah, it was. So it was brought up in a small town. It wasn't brought up initially in Plainfield. They
Yeah.
had a grocery shop in town.
Yeah.
But his mum, she's just like proper religious fanatic, and she thought that everyone was sinful and immoral, and she was really bothered about the boys being corrupted. So then, when he was about 8 years old, I think they moved to Plainfield then, which is a tiny little town. I think it had a whole population of about 900 people.
Right.
And his nearest neighbour was about a mile away. So he was on this farm with his mum, who's a kind of fanatic, with his brother, and that's it, you know. So yeah, he didn't really.
So they're a little bit like these rural places you find in Scotland in the middle of nowhere.
A bit like the Hills Eyes.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I suppose so. But there's a lot of inconsistencies with this Ed Gein.
Yeah.
And what actually happened. I think it's more like, obviously they had to dramatise it.
Yeah.
And the storyline with Adeline, that wasn't anything like that at all. But I mean, what did you think of it? You loved it, didn't you? You really enjoyed it.
I've seen. I mean, obviously, we know that what he's based on. So we've obviously seen Psycho. We've seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There was also another film that came out in 1974 called The Ranged, which it was also based on a game, but it doesn't get enough credit, I don't think.
No.
And then obviously we had the Buffalo Bill character in Silence of the Lambs. Now, when I was watching this, I did like the fact that they gave a nod to those films and included them in the series. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. They could have done, put the lotion in the basket. They could have done that.
Yeah, it was a brilliant. But obviously, we know that the Buffalo Bill character was making the suit out of dead women, which is something that he did on top of a lot of other things. It is very graphic.
Yeah.
Very graphic. And yeah.
So his relationships. Now, his mum was super religious, and like I said, he obviously, I mean, he was schizophrenic and he was really vulnerable. He didn't have any friends. All he had was his brother, his mum, and his dad. So his dad was a raging alcoholic.
Yeah.
His mum was a really strong person, and she used to beat him. She used to humiliate him, and and he kind of hung off everything that his mum said and did.
Yeah.
And he saw his dad as weak. So it was like, men are weak, women are strong. And when he started, so he was about 10, I think, when he saw his mum and dad slaughtering a hog.
Yeah.
And he was actually aroused by that,
Right.
Like normal 10-year-old boys are, when they see something being slaughtered. Yeah, it's not, not really.
It's a bit strange. But
Yeah.
so the character of Ed Gein is played by Charlie Hunnam. Have I said that right? Hunnam?
Mm.
Yeah. And you'll probably know him. He's a Geordie from Newcastle, and I think one of his first starring roles was in Biker Grove.
It was in Biker Grove.
Do you remember Biker Grove?
I never really watched it.
I never really watched it, but I do believe that he started off in Biker Grove and then he went on to do Sons of Anarchy, which everybody has probably seen. And he was also in Guy Ritchie's The Gentleman. Now, when you were talking about the role of a woman, he did come up with this voice, didn't he? This sort of very feminine voice as part of the role.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how did you think that he acted in this? Because I've never seen him act like this before. He's always been a bit of a macho guy, hasn't he, and stuff like that. For him to play this weak.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you call him weak.
Well, he was submissive.
Yeah.
To his mother. She was his world. She was his everything.
Yeah.
But that voice, I think he did that because she always told him that she wanted a girl.
She wanted a girl, yeah.
But in reality, he did actually have a speech impediment, as well as his lazy eye left. Yeah.
Did they have any recorded footage of Ed Gein's real voice or anything like that to compare it to? I mean,
well, they must have done because they've got tapes from his interviews and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So they must have done, but I don't know. Maybe. Well, saying that though, I'm going to say maybe he couldn't pull this speech impediment off, but by episode 4, it was sounding more Irish to me.
He did actually come across like that in that one. I don't know. I don't know if it's something that I'd ever listen to that just to compare it, just to see.
Well, I'd
what
just listen to it for entertainment.
The real Ed Gein. I know.
All those memes that they have, and they say, like people who watch all true horror crime and then sleep well in the beds at night, be wary of them. That's me.
Well, I saved a few little things on my phone here because I did have a look at this on Rotten Tomatoes and it got 20%. And this is a critic. I won't name her, but she's said in execution the series is high on its own farts, which is fitting because the Ed Gein Story has all the impact of a wet one. What do you think about that?
Yeah. If you don't know the story properly and you're not a bit of a, true crime nerd like me, I mean, it is good. I would watch it again.
Yeah.
I would watch it again, and I wouldn't sit there. I mean, whilst I was watching it the first time, thinking, well, that didn't really happen, and that didn't really happen, and so I didn't do this. But I enjoyed it, and I understand why they have to do that as well.
Yeah.
They need something. It was like the Adeline. They needed somebody for him to bounce off, if you like, I suppose. Otherwise it would have just been him.
Sorry, did he have that relationship with her in reality? Or have they sort of dramatised that?
They've dramatised it a lot, yeah. I mean, he was a virgin, according to him as well. No, there was no necrophilia there. He didn't eat any of the bodies, according to him.
Yeah, I mean, I did make a note there. And he was convicted. He was convicted of, he said 2 murders. But everything else, it was just digging up bodies and he was making things out of them, weren't he? Like the first did, making lamps and putting skulls on the ends of his bedposts and things like that. Yeah, so all that happened, and
so he killed Mary Hogan in the bar, and then he dragged her back on his sled.
Yeah.
And and he actually made a mask out of her face.
Yeah.
And then you've got Bernice. What's her name now? Bernice, the woman who he was supposedly having an affair with the sheriff's mother.
I did read that that was...
Yeah, no, that didn't happen. And he actually he lied because like this is how, you know, socially inadequate he is. I suppose he was like, I was just testing out the gun, and it went off, and I don't really remember anything after that, and don't know what happened. But yeah, he was convicted of her murder, but he wasn't. Even though he admitted to Mary Hogan's murder, they didn't actually try him for that.
Yeah. I've just had a look there on Google. She called Bernice Warden.
Warden, yeah, that's it.
And she have the hardware store?
Yeah.
Now I did read that he'd gone in for, was it petrol or something like that?
I think it was paint.
I
think it was paint.
He'd ordered something.
Yeah.
And after death, that was the last receipt that was on the till, weren't it? It was for Ed Gein, and he'd ordered something from the hardware store. Yeah.
But you know, if you're going to kill anyone, it's not the deputy sheriff's mum. Really, that was a bit of a wrong move.
That was it. Yeah.
But no, so he made. He had gloves. He had masks. He had chair seats. He also made a chair out of leg bones and fat, like dried fat. He had his belt that was made entirely of nipples. He had waste baskets. He had a pair of lips that he'd actually put on, you know, the blind pull thing.
Right.
He had that, you know, at the bottom. He did have women's genitalia.
Yeah.
They found fingernails, ears. They found a skull with a gold tooth, which they thought could have come from a man.
Yeah.
And that's where those two hunters came into it. Remember when he chased them down?
Yeah.
So they're thinking that, because they just disappeared as well.
When I was reading about it, they did say there were a lot of disappearances around that time, and these two deer hunters had gone missing. When I was reading it, they said bear hunters, but I'm sure they were deer hunters. I think they got it wrong, whoever wrote that. But I don't think they could pin it to him.
No, they couldn't. There was also
Was it a girl or
there was a babysitter that went missing, it's not the same story, I don't think.
No,
it is in the series.
No, yeah, because he was babysitting, weren't he? And he got annoyed because he got this other babysitter.
Yeah, but that didn't really happen. He was actually a good babysitter. That didn't happen. No, he was actually a good babysitter. You know what I mean? I'm looking after my kids.
I'm going to say, would you let him look after your children?
Saying that though, my children would probably frighten him to death. If he'd gone, it would be long. but yeah, they actually so there was a babysitter that went missing. She was 15.
Yeah.
And then there was an 8-year-old girl, but that doesn't kind of seem his thing. You know, he wasn't really into children.
Yeah.
You know, he wanted to be a woman. He saw women as, like I said, being strong, and men as being really weak. And his mum had drilled that into him. I mean, I don't think that the series give her as good of a role as what she should have had.
Yeah.
You know, she didn't chastise him like his mum actually did.
Yeah.
She was just a bit more disappointed. You know, but yeah, she was. I mean, he actually got bullied at school. And then instead of his mum going around having a word with his teachers or whatever, he got beaten, like he's there. Ed Gein got beaten because he was bullied.
Yeah, so she gave him a good hiding because he'd not stuck up for himself. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I
but
suppose.
On the other hand, was he trying to be a girl, did you say?
Not at that point. No,
Right.
because it was only probably about, I don't know,
So it
8 or 9 or
wasn't
something.
it wasn't a transvestite or a
No,
homosexual or anything like
no,
that.
no, no.
No.
I think he was probably asexual,
Yeah.
to be fair. And he saw that like as being something really, really, really dirty and sinful. And his mum wasn't. She weren't really helpful, was she? Yeah, and then she died.
So everything that happened in that TV, well, there were parts of it that were true and parts of it that obviously dramatised to
Yeah.
make a good show, really,
Mhm.
because I thought it was brilliant.
It is good.
It was very
It is
sort
good,
of.
but
I mean, to me, it was just a mashup of all them films that I love. But
yeah,
obviously,
I think that's what he tried to do
it's a
with it.
true story.
Yeah,
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 and it's the true story of the character that they based all these icons on.
I know.
Leatherface, Buffalo Bill, Norman Bates.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that about his brother as well. That did happen.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know whether he hit him round the head in the barn or whatever. I mean, he was never convicted of that. They did. Obviously, they suspected him, didn't they, at first? But his brother's there, just laying down, and it's freezing cold, but he's been next to a fire. He wasn't even burnt, but he died in a fire. Straight away you'd be a bit like, but because they buried him, they never did an autopsy on him, so they could never prove that Ed Gein.
Ed had done it.
Yeah, but he did batter him.
Yeah.
And that was when he told him about him going living in sin with a twice divorced woman and her children.
Right.
So that was true.
A bit like my mother. She's been divorced twice, hasn't she? Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, just throw me there now. But yeah, so his mum. I mean, there's a scene in there, isn't there, where there's a couple and he's trying to mistreat this dog. He's trying to kill. Is he trying to drown it in a bucket?
That's when they went to get the money back.
Yeah.
What was that all about? I mean,
I can't remember.
was that something? Had they had something from the farm and they'd not
so,
paid
yeah.
up, and she went round to get the money?
Yeah, but he was like trying to kill this dog.
Yeah, he was trying to drown it or something.
But she were more bothered about the fact that they were living in sin.
Yeah, rather than the dog.
Rather than what he was doing to the dog. Yeah, so that is kind of how you can imagine being, because he was on his own there. He had no friends. There was nobody else about him. Once he'd killed his brother, obviously, it was just him and his mum. And so that did happen with the dog scene. And then you've got when his mum died. So in the series, it's kind of portrayed as though nobody knows that his mum's dead.
Yeah.
And he's still trying to pretend that she's alive, a bit like Norman Bates.
Norman Bates did that, didn't he?
Yeah.
In Psycho,
yeah. Whereas everybody knew that his mum was dead. And it was about 18 months after she died that he dug her up.
Right.
Took her head and shrank it. Because he'd been learning about all this. He'd been reading all these books about
shrunken.
And then
was that some sort of native thing from years ago? Like,
yeah.
I
wonder if that guy from Beetlejuice, if that happened to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when he's in the waiting room. Yeah, because he was like some kind of a cannibal guy with a ball through his nose.
I don't know.
Do you think that were like some of these like tribal sort of islands that we see in like Cannibal Holocaust and things like that? And they were this sort of shrunken head type voodoo kind of things, weren't they, years ago? Yeah.
So he'd done that, and he had all sorts of books that he was reading about.
Well, he was into them military book things, weren't he?
He did. He had a bit of a fascination.
He had a fascination with
that.
Yeah.
And his dad as well. Obviously, his dad used to tan hides So he'd learned that skill from his dad. So when he was skinning these
Yeah.
people, he knew how to tan
Right.
the hides, and that's how he could make his furniture and everything out of them. But maybe he got the idea from what they did during the Holocaust, because they did that to the Jewish people, didn't they? Back
Yeah,
then.
and is that where the phrase "I'll tan your hide" comes from?
It is.
Right. So now we know where that comes from. I'll tan your hide. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, she was just, what I think is everything related around his mum.
Yeah.
Once she'd gone, he had nobody there. He had no boundaries, nothing. Nobody's telling what to do, and he just went trying to find this thing that he needed, which was his mum.
Yeah.
And when he went into the mental hospital there, apparently it was kind of some like of like what's the word I'm looking for? It was like a perfect inmate, if you like.
Yeah.
And that's probably because he had some kind of structure and whatnot. So ironically, Milo, come here. Ironically, the what happened to him actually helped him in a way.
So that helped him cope in the place that it was an institute that he went to eventually, weren't it?
Yeah, and he would have been. Well, you can imagine, can't you? I've got two autistic children, and we know what it's like about routine.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's that kind of thing. He's got aims, he's got goals, he's got that
Yeah.
stability and stuff. So ironically, the taxpayer in America were paying for him to live a really cushy life in this
Yeah.
mental hospital.
I think as well, when you sort of later get into that, I can't even remember what episode. It was like one of the later episodes, weren't it, where he's actually in the
Yeah,
institute and he's speaking with that doctor.
yeah,
I compared it to American Psycho, didn't I?
yeah,
Because I was unsure what was in his head and what was actually reality.
yeah.
And I think when he spoke to that doctor, and the doctor said it was like a mirror that's smashed into millions of pieces, and that's like your brain. It's not like a complete mirror, and you've got bits of different things going on different shards of the mirror. That he didn't even understand himself,
Oh
and you
no,
did. I know it was a bad thing what he did, but you did feel sorry for him, and it was hard not to because he didn't understand what he was doing, and they've done this on the other two. They've made you
kind of empathise with them, haven't
yeah,
they?
you sort of empathise
Yeah.
with the characters. Now, I did actually find a clip online of the Dharma first monster series that Ryan Murphy
Yeah.
did. And I'd forgotten that they'd already spoke about Ed Gein. They sort of planted a little bit of an Easter egg in that. Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
No. Yeah.
No.
They were talking to Dharma,
Yeah.
these two detectives
Yeah.
in an interview room, and I think they were comparing Dharma's crimes to Ed Gein.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
But as well, I think, like we're saying about the later episodes in this, they're bringing other killers into it as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
And it's I don't want to spoil it for anyone. We don't want to give too much away, but it was a very very good drama. What did you think of it?
I thought it was a good drama, and they had to put something else in there. They had to make it different, because otherwise, even though how disgusting and gross it is,
Yeah.
if they hadn't have done that, it probably would have just been boring.
Yeah.
Because he
Yeah.
basically lived as a recluse.
Yeah.
You know, he stopped bathing. You know, he didn't go out. He did odd jobs for a bit of money. He actually sold his brother's land
Yeah.
that he killed.
Yeah.
You know, so he was really trying to make ends meet, but it wasn't really that entertaining. So they had to put
They had to,
they had to do
they had
something.
to make it more dramatic.
Yeah. Otherwise, it would have just been. I mean, they could have done it in 4 rather than 8.
I don't know. I think I think it was just right. There's parts of it, like I said, about giving nods to the other horror films, and there's a lot of things in there about Alfred Hitchcock and Psycho, and they're sort of coming away from the story of Ed and more sort of concentrating on that.
I'm going, Milo, come
here. So, like you say, if they'd have cut down on some of that, they could have probably done it in less, but I don't know.
And all that bit about the German side.
Yeah, but
there was way too much of that.
I think what we're getting at really were how they commissioned for 8 episodes and got to fill that time and you know make it so long and things like that. So that's why they had to add that stuff in, because it's not a long story. The story of Ed Gein. I mean, we know what he did, and obviously, did they say it was over 10 years? His crimes took place over 10 years, I think it was, weren't it? So,
but really, I mean, they could have concentrated less on the German woman who, at first, you were like, "What's all this about? Who's this supposed to be? Who's this?"
Yeah,
they could have done more about his actual childhood, from his mum having the grocery store and moving, and the way that she made him by dominating him. Really, they could have done it that way. But I'm not a director, I'm not a screenwriter, I'm just
well, I mean, I did forget to mention, you'll probably know Ryan Murphy from American Horror Story, and he did actually do Glee.
I've never watched that.
I've never watched that, but I mean, I know that's some kind of teenage high school type thing, isn't it? Which is sort of aimed at kids. I was surprised when I looked up Ryan Murphy and what he'd done. I mean, obviously, we've seen a few of the American Horror Story things, and they were great as well. But I think this drama is absolutely fantastic, and if you do get a chance to watch it, give it a watch, because we just binged it on.
We did, and that's
weekend,
why. I think that's why they've got away with doing it in so many episodes as well, because they know that people are going to be like, next one, aren't they?
Yeah.
But I mean, the bit about the auctioning as well, they did actually auction a lot of his stuff.
Yeah, and then I did actually find out when I was sort of reading into this that they've actually got rid of the house. I think they bulldozed it or burnt it down.
They burnt it down in the
thing. There's nothing there now.
Yeah, there's nothing there. Yeah. But it was like the people who bought his car. They were giving people, like they had to pay 25 cents to have a look in it or whatever they were doing. There was, some kind of like freak show.
Yeah, a bit like when you go to York and you go on the ghost tour in the haunted bus. Similar kind of
nobody
thing,
transported their body parts in that, did they, Dan? Jesus. Oh dear, yeah. So because people had a fascination with that kind of stuff. People do, don't they? And even though it was all a bit sickening, but people were really, they wanted a piece of that, didn't they?
You do have these fanatics, though, that love, murderers and killers and stuff. I know you like them and you like reading about them, but I don't think you'd want to go and visit places that they'd actually committed murders and stuff like that. Or I'm not. I mean, looking at your face, you're frightening me now.
I won't be writing to him in prison or anything like that. But, I know what you mean. But people do, and it's like his grave. I mean, I think that was just awful what they did when they actually buried him in Plainfield Cemetery.
he weren't too far away from. Was it Bernice that we said?
Yeah, and his yeah,
I'm not sure if
and
it
his
was her
mum's grave.
or the other lady, but he was buried
And his
in
mum's.
between his mum and his brother, weren't he? And his dad was on the end.
Yeah.
But one of his victims were a stone's throw away in the same cemetery.
And I don't think that he deserved to be laid to rest there, you know.
I think they should have just put him in an unmarked grave somewhere, not in Plainfield, because for one, those people have to deal with that. Is it legacy?
Yeah, there's all that reminders as well, and then you've got people who go there. They were going and
it becomes a tourist attraction,
yeah.
and
they were nicking stuff off. Well, they were nicking parts of the grave, weren't they?
Yeah,
the headstone. I mean,
yeah.
Why do you have a headstone?
Yeah, but like you said, those people have got to live there now, and they've got to, you know, even though it was a long time ago, that shadow's still hanging over that town. But they just want to get back to some kind of normality without these tourists
I bet they love
coming
it,
in.
Really, though.
I don't know. I mean, the thing is, if you were that disgusted by what had happened there and everything that was going on in that town, you wouldn't live there, would you? You just move down the road to a different place. You know,
well, you've got to think though about him, and it's like, you know, how deranged, like film,
which is
how
the film,
deranged he actually was, because you know he had a full, he had a bodysuit with breasts and everything, and he used to actually put female genitalia over his own, as well, and he had dresses there. He had full like a basque or something.
It's like the Norman Bates.
But it skinned it
right
perfectly. He used to just wear that, and worse than Norman Bates, worse than what he's portrayed as well. It was really, really, really sickening what he did. But he was lost. He was trying to find his mum.
Yeah.
And I'm not condoning what he did at all. It was absolutely horrendous what he did.
Yeah.
But he was just there, left. He had nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody at all.
It's as if something had just gone off in his head, and it's just like
it was after he dug his mum up, actually.
He obviously had. It was obviously traumatic for him to lose his mother, and obviously, like you say, he had nobody, and for him to feel that closeness with her again. I mean, we've all lost relatives. You know, we've had people pass away on us, and you know, even though you miss them, you won't go down the graveyard and dig them up and bring them back for a brew, would you? It's just not right, is it?
Like a weekend at Bernie's for some stakes with arms like this. But no, it's like, oh, sorry, people. But it was just, I mean, he was going around grave robbing. He was like looking at the picture of his all the time, going, right, that's a fresh one. And then sometimes he was actually going to the grave and robbing these bodies before they'd actually put all the soil back, you know, so like the
they put them there, don't they? And then they start to fill them in, don't they? Yeah.
And nobody knew. People were none the wiser because these were fresh graves.
Yeah.
So it weren't like it were all flattened and whatnot, and he dug it up and then it looked like it had been disturbed because it was already.
I think, because they're not going to know. They're not going to open the coffin up and have a look and think, oh, let's see if that body's still there.
But they did exhume. They did exhume what he'd said, where he'd said, and found missing parts. You know.
Yeah, like he's got it all mapped out and he's got his project going, and it's like, oh right, I need a finger for that, or you know, I need a bit of a leg. I need a leg bone, you know, just to finish that table off. That
it's a bit wonky. You know, I need somebody who's at least 6'1", you know, whatever. Oh, what goes through your mind? Seriously, it's absolutely off his rocker. And I mean, he died of cancer, didn't he?
He said respiratory problems that I read, and obviously, I think in the show they did say it was lung cancer. And what year did you say it was? 1984 he passed away. Yeah.
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 But yeah, can you imagine that? Just oh god, you know, you see, so oh god, I just can't imagine. How would anybody even think to do that? It just goes beyond me. I can understand why he did it, why he did what he did.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like when you were saying the other day about Tom Savini and
oh, he's the skills
to
that he
come
had
up
with
with
me.
to come up with ways to kill people. It's like, what kind of a conversation do you have about that, really? You know,
I think when you're doing it for the sake of art, but you're not. I mean, obviously they were using real people.
no, I know they weren't.
They were creating the effects for the horror films, weren't they? Like this guy's going beyond that, and he's actually living out his fantasy.
Yeah,
it's a little bit like Norman Bates when you watch Psycho.
Yeah.
He was into taxidermy, and I'm sure they probably got that idea off Ed, but Alfred Hitchcock probably didn't want to think, well, we'll have him stealing a couple of bodies and stuffing them or making furniture out of them or whatever. He'd obviously taken his mother and put her back in a room, and she was on the rocking chair.
Which is what they can't. But he went back into that house and he just shut everything off. So it was like the living room, a bedroom, the I don't know.
Did he just
lobby.
isolate himself to the kitchen or something?
Yeah, he just had a room downstairs that he was in.
Because that were full of junk.
And he did have all that like kitchen utensils, bowls and stuff made out of bowls.
He made one out of the top part of the skull, didn't he? And he was just living on pork and beans.
But they did that in
beans
Alive.
And sausage.
You know the one about the plane crash.
Plane crash. I've never seen that. I've heard about it.
They
but I've
did
not
that.
Seen that.
They made bowls out of the skulls and stuff. They had to eat the pilot that they started with because it crashed it. But yeah, that was they did that with that. But yeah, just why? You know, you just sat there one night and said, "Oh, do you know what? Don't really like my mum's hand. I'm just gonna go and who's died this week?
Just looking at the obituaries in the paper and thinking, well, could you?
Oh yeah, I remember her. Yeah, she's about the same size as my mum.
Yeah, and that's what it was like, weren't it? Yeah, very, very
strange. Really. Well, the weirdest thing is that he was actually a babysitter.
Right.
Probably because I could relate to him.
Yeah.
Well, not in a sadistic way. Yeah, children. Yeah. He'd never grown up, had he? He'd never had that chance.
He'd never had that. He'd not had a childhood or anything. Well, I suppose he had a childhood, but he'd had an abusive childhood where he probably weren't allowed to go and play with other kids, things like that.
No.
He was obviously isolated on the land that he was on, and he weren't allowed to go anywhere. The only time he probably mixed with other people would be when he was at school.
Yeah. And weird.
Sad in it, but also very, very traumatic and disgusting what he did. But
how can you just think? Oh.
It don't bear thinking about, does it? I mean, a lot of people when I was looking into this and watching different videos on YouTube and things like that, they just said when they'd obviously read the books and saw the documentaries and things like that, I just made them physically sick. They just said they were throwing up. It was that bad.
Well, you can imagine as well, can't you? I mean, the sheriff, he died.
Right.
About a year after.
After that had happened.
Yeah.
And what did he pass away with? Was that like shock?
I think it was still shock, yeah.
Heart attack or something like that.
These people had not seen anything like that before.
Well, I don't think anybody had in the world, had they? It's just...
And you walk in to that, and there were all these. I mean, it was like in the program where there's like heads and bits of body parts everywhere, and like say a box of genitalia, vaginas, fingers, ears, fingernails, all sorts of these little trophies that he'd kept.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like everywhere they turned, there was just something else and something else and something else, and then all these suits that he'd made and these leggings that he'd made and the dresses and
It's
can you
it's hard to
imagine?
believe,
I
really,
know,
isn't it? Something like that
and
had
yeah,
actually happened.
yeah. Was he called Art? He weren't called Art, were he? The sheriff, I can't remember his name now.
Yeah.
But yeah, he died a year after. He was only in his early 40s, I
Was
think.
it?
And I don't know whether it's true, whether Bernice's son actually found her.
Right.
I don't know whether he did or not, or whether that was.
Um,
I'm not sure about that. To be fair,
when I was watching that clip that I mentioned before from Dharma, they did put a little bit of footage in there, and obviously they'd not shown Ed Gein because I think they must have been planning on this.
yeah,
He must
like
have a
out.
list there of everything that he's going to do. So he probably thought, yeah, I'll just drop a bit of an Easter egg in there. And then obviously we had the other one that followed part two, the Menendez brothers. Yeah. But it did show to police officers, but it was at night time and they had torches and they opened the barn door and obviously saw what they saw. We know what they saw. We don't even need to think about that. You know, if you had that way inclined, there's pictures of that on the internet, but it's nothing that I want to flash up. It were awful. Yeah. I mean, they actually recreated that.
Yeah. And that is how they found her.
Yeah. And yeah, they found her that way, didn't they?
Yeah. But yeah, in the show, it kind of portrays him as being a bit of a cannibal and taking food round to his neighbours that he cooked.
That would, yeah, I remember that bit as well. That didn't happen.
That didn't happen.
No.
Because even though he kind of had the mind of a serial killer, if you like, he wasn't doing it for that reason.
Yeah.
He was trying to recreate something, so I don't think he had any fascination with eating them or, you know, having sex with them or anything like that. Like I said. He did. He wanted his mum. That were it. Mum.
Yeah. Yeah. So he weren't like a Hannibal Lecter sort of.
More like Buffalo Bill.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they've probably got that idea of Hannibal Lecter there a little bit, but.
But Buffalo Bill, he were eating them, were he?
No.
He was just killing them and making himself a suit.
He was fascinated with being a female, weren't he? And that it's transsexualism, isn't it?
But he was doing that. He was killing them so that he could become a woman, whereas he was just trying to get body parts. And yeah, he probably did kill more than 2 people, but there were only the 2 that we definitely know about, Mary and Bernice.
So, in conclusion, like I said, he got a 20% score on Rotten Tomatoes, and obviously it had been panned by the critics. What did you think of Ed Gein?
Right, I think if you watch it and you don't keep comparing it, you watch it as they've done it, I think it is good. Apart from like I said, the flashbacks with the German thing, all that's just a bit nonsense to me. But I think if you watch it as that, I think it's good. It could have been better. Like I said, they could have done a lot more backstory rather than just like boom straight in there, you know. But no, overall, I think it's not too bad. I'd watch it again.
Yeah, it was a pretty decent offering.
I fast forward through the German bit things because they're just pointless, really.
Yeah.
But it's good.
Yeah, you enjoyed it?
Yeah.
So that concludes our discussion on the story of Ed Gein. Now, not too far off Halloween, Rachel. Are you looking forward to it?
Yes.
Have you got your costume ready?
I've got it on. You're trying to say?
No, I did have a little bit of a sneak preview of Rachel's costume yesterday. It's almost as good as mine.
Yeah.
Almost.
Right.
Mm.
We'll see. We'll see.
So, that being said, we hope you all have a happy Halloween. It's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye.
Bye.